Look at you, Peter. Your grades have been steadily declining. You're late for class. You always appear exhausted. Your paper on fusion is still overdue.
I have a lecture at 10 a.m. on the physics of galaxies. I haven't been to this lecture since week 2, so I thought I'd give it another chance and go in. I feel like modules are worth more than just 2 lectures, right? You got to give them chances. And also because I actually didn't get a chance to do the coursework on the weekend. The deadline had gone and I had kind of missed it. And so I just kind of felt compelled to go in. I don't know why. I don't know what I was planning to achieve. I don't know what I would gain by it, because I asked the professor if like, oh, you know, I missed it and is there anything I can do, and he kind of just said like it closed already. But I don't know, I kind of guess I'd thought if I go in something would kind of happen. Just in general, I've been so busy. I've been so busy and I feel like I'm drowning in everything. You know, it's not just like this coursework that I missed. The other week there was a checkpoint for my dissertation. I haven't done that. I am a little bit behind on my dissertation. I need to buy clothes. I don't have any clothes. There's also the master's application that's kind of like due around now. There's just so many things. I think there was some more things, but anyway, so I went into the lecture and I actually really enjoyed this lecture. We was going over AGNs, which is an active galactic nucleus, I think, the different parts of the galaxies. I think this part is like where most of the radiation is admitted, and we looked over AGNs, and we also looked over blazars, and the kind of lecture just kind of focused on the kind of like, you know, when you see a galaxy and you kind of see like the emission lines coming out of it, where we're just kind of like studying those and kind of like, okay, this is radiation, this is you know, this is short-lived, this is long-lived, this comes from this type of galaxy, that type of galaxy. You know, like Ali wasn't in and Arian doesn't come into this lecture. He came in one time and he just decided not to come in, and I was like, Arian, man, you got like, you can't just judge someone on one lecture. Like, do you get me? You can't. It's like when you're eating food and you just like take a first bite and you've already made up your mind about the whole thing. Like, you gotta let it marinate a little bit. Like, the lecturer actually came up to me afterwards and I was really scared. I didn't know what he was gonna talk to me about. I thought he was gonna tell me off for filming videos. I'll be totally real. So I got a little bit scared. But then he was like talking to me about the email I sent him, and you know, we was talking about like ECs and like, you know, some of the other options and whatnot. So it was really cool. He actually came to me. I didn't actually have to go to him. So that was really nice. And he was really friendly about it as well. He didn't like take me to account for the fact that I've week 8 now and he hasn't seen me since week 2. So it was nice. Anyway, as I was leaving, Fleur, this girl, came up to me and she was like, oh, what did the professor say to you? And then I explained to her what had happened, and she'd been going through the same thing, and she literally articulated like all of my thoughts and feelings to me literally in that one moment. She kind of like didn't get a chance to do it, and she felt that she was being irresponsible, and she felt that it was 3rd year now, so she has to like make this her priority. And she must have said something that, like, she didn't say it like this, but she basically said, I have to take this on the chin, meaning to say that, you know, like, it's 3rd year, this is not a mistake that I should have made, and I should have just kind of like taken responsibility for it, and you know, maybe I'm gonna try and get my way around this, but maybe I just have to like take it on the chin, meaning like get 0 and kind of like use this as a lesson for like in the future to lock in. I think that's what she was kind of saying, and it was good because I was like, okay, this is exactly how I'm feeling. So it's good that, you know, she came and said that. Yeah, and she was like, she's also behind on her dissertation as well. So, you know, it's like, I was like, okay, I'm not the only one, and you know, I should try and think like that. Anyway, after that, it's around 12:15, 12:30, I went into the library to actually work on this dissertation. As you can see, it's coming along quite nicely. When I am able to work on something consistently, I do tend to build up a lot of momentum, right? So I am working on this dissertation, on this particular one, just trying to write down the derivations, all the different derivations for all the different types of black holes. So there are like a charged black holes, there's a black hole in ADS, and I'm just writing up the derivations for all those things. Yeah, I just felt like I was making good progress with that. So that ended at about 1:30. I then went into the gym. The gym was really interesting because I actually made a friend in the gym. I was in the locker room. I was like going on Instagram or whatever, and I was looking at these reels, and there was this reel that I found really funny, and I started laughing out loud. And I'm not going to say what the reel is, but basically there was a guy there, and I didn't know who he was, and I just showed it to him, and then he started laughing at it as well, and boom, just made a friend. And you know, it was interesting because I was thinking like, you know, like, it's that easy. you know, it's that easy to make friends, and you know, it's like you don't even have to try. And like, you know, like the guy afterwards, he was like, oh, you know, let me get your Instagram, you know, like it's that easy, you know, like you don't have to feel awkward about it, you know. And with this guy, it was like it goes back to this idea of like, you never let someone go without kind of like saying something to them or acknowledging them. And you know, like, you know, because sometimes you can justify it to yourself and you can say like, oh, they were probably busy, oh, they probably didn't see me. But most of the time that's not true, you know. Most of the time these things are a choice. And you know, I was just saying that like there are these people that, you know, they're always just gonna make efforts, man. And you know, I haven't been trying to force anything. I've been letting a lot of people like come to me. I've been like manifesting, not manifesting.
Look what has become of you.
Look what I have risen above.
Like just attracting things, like you know, just letting things come to me, letting things happen naturally. And it's been really good, it's really positive. And I think that situation in the gym just showed that. Like, you know, like it was just so normal, it was just so natural. Okay, boom, I show you this reel, he asked for my Instagram. Like, easy, it's simple. With the right people, it's simple. And you know, you just have to you know, let yourself attract these kind of things. So went into the gym, saw David.
Oh, no.
I've started already.
4K 60, bro.
Huh? Say it doesn't matter. You're good looking enough anyway for it to be. For me?
Listen to film in 4K 60 frames, yeah, just because it's a bit more smooth, right? Content creator to content creator.
I'm not disagreeing, but it's like I've already done it now, so just gotta roll with it.
Just delete it, start again.
Nah, bro, you just like, you know, when you do, you just have to like
Fair. See it
commit.
through.
Once you do, yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
I respect it. Fair.
I think that's pretty good cameo.
Nice.
And then after that, I went back into the library. Oh my god, it's a busy day, right? So that must have been at around like 3:30 or something like that. 3:30, almost 4 actually, to be fair. And I actually went to the 4th floor just to kind of change it up. I saw Ali looking pretty, you know, a bit like all of us now at around week 8 in year 3, looking a little bit put out. And I was actually applying for an EC at the moment now. I do this weird thing, well, it's not that a weird thing, but basically I went onto an EC because I've actually never applied for an EC before. This is actually my first time, so I went on it. I was like, okay, how do I do this? But once I saw how I could actually do it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home now, if that makes sense, because it's like before it was kind of like unknown territory, but then I was like, okay, I can just quickly do this before I go to sleep. I'm too tired now, I'm gonna go home. So I went home. There was one other thing I wanted to reflect upon today, which was that basically I've noticed that a lot of the times the best conversations I've had with people are not the times where I've been the most charismatic or the most funny or the most charming or whatever. They've literally just been the times where like I felt in control. Like I felt like I wasn't using the kind of like fear part of my brain, and I was just totally present. And you know, like I was like, when you're nervous, you kind of like trip over everything, you bump into the chair. But like when you're like more relaxed, and I was just thinking about like all the kind of times like I've had the best conversations, and literally they've just been when I just wasn't scared. But then I was also thinking to myself that like there is a reason why I'm scared. And like for example, a few times today I was quite scared of like some things off camera, but then I was just like to myself, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense that I'm scared. It makes sense that I'm feeling this way. I've kind of like understood why I feel certain ways. Now it just happens. And like today I was just like, okay, this is happening. I know why I feel this way. This is fine. I'm just gonna let it pass. Like, it's not personal. I'm just gonna let it pass. It'll be over in like, I don't know, like half an hour or something, whatever. But yeah, I was just like, you know, it makes sense. With everything you're going through, it makes sense. You know, like sometimes we go through a lot, we suffer a lot, and we forget how brave we are. We forget how brave and productive we are in spite of that adversity. And you know, sometimes so much so that we actually forget that we're not on that level playing field. You know, like sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, well, like what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be like normal and stuff? But it's like, no, it makes sense. Like, not to justify it, but like it makes sense. Like with everything you're going through, it makes sense. So the other day, I was sitting with Ali, and basically there was a security guard who came and dapped up Ali, and they was having like a conversation, and like Ali like talks to him and converses with him. So I was like, okay, cool. And I was thinking like, you know, Ali is such a cool guy, like for him to be able to just like start up conversations with all different types of people. And the thought kind of came to me like, oh, I wish I could be more like Ali. But then I was like, hold on a second. It goes back to that video that I made, which was like, what if you're already that person? Because I was jealous of how Ali could just talk to this security guard, but then I was thinking like, well, Jericho, there's literally an exact same situation where you do exactly the same. So why are you wishing to be like Ali? You're already like, you know, you already have that quality. I have a friend in UCL, he's like a security guard. I call him my friend because like I'm very familiar with him and I see him every time I go there. He works in the science library and like I see him all the time, and it's like, okay, yeah, because I was just like, you're jealous of this scenario, but there's literally an exact same scenario where you're able to do this. So it just makes sense why I would think like that. It makes sense why I would think like that, and I just have to let it pass, and I just have to understand that I am already that person, and I just have to rewire my thoughts, just kind of like bring in more positive thoughts. Thank you for watching.